am so happy that you're here today, because today we're going to be talking about something that is so fundamental to any type of project that you're leading, change that you're going through, and it's aligning your vision and success metrics together. And it is not easy to do, y'all, but it is so worth it. So okay, let's dive in. We're going to talk about two different aspects of aligning your vision and success metrics. One is the process that we use at Wonder Services that you can use at your company to define your vision and success metrics. The other one we're going to end with is topic number 2, and that's watch outs. And there are several watch outs along the way, key learnings that we've had that I would like to share with you so you can avoid them. All right, so number 1, let's go through the process of defining your vision and success metrics. Okay, when do you do this? You do this right out of the gate. Sometimes we help our clients, and as they're building their business case, we're defining their vision and success metrics. The earlier you can do it, the better, because vision and success metrics become your true north, your North Star for the project. If, let's just say, something comes up along the way, a big design question or a scope creep scenario or whatever it might be, misalignment within your stakeholders, that can happen. Going back to your vision and going back to your success metrics grounds everyone. It's like, nope, that's out because it doesn't align with our vision and it doesn't align with our success metrics. Oh, that's in because it does. So it is truly remarkable when you're very clear on your vision, very clear on your success metrics, how much easier it can be when you're leading a project or a change like you are. Okay, so what's the process? You start early, and then what we typically do is I get a whole bunch of people together, not like 20, 25 people. I'm talking like 10 to 15, but they all have different perspectives on the project. So you could have, if let's just say you're in procurement, and we do a lot of procurement and supply chain work. Let's just say you're in procurement and you are, let's just say an AP, and then we'll have somebody from treasury, and we'll have somebody from strategic sourcing, and we'll have somebody from the vendor master team. We get all kinds of different people together, leaders that understand where you potentially could go. So it's important that you don't have people in the room that maybe are very stuck in today or don't have perspective of what it could be in the future. You want people who are forward thinking, can think of where they want and how they want to craft the future of whatever change that you're going through. Okay, so you get those people in the room, and because of dynamics that happen in every organization, and I will say I'm probably one of these people who like to, talk a lot, share my opinion, maybe take over the talk track a little bit in the room. We want to be very conscious of those people, those things happening. And sometimes the people that have the smallest voice, the quietest voice, are the ones that have the really, really interesting stuff to say. So what we do is we do individual brainstorming. So we'll get people together, and the first thing that we start with is, what is the problem that we're trying to solve? Okay. And what we ask is we take out Post-it notes, and each individual participant brainstorms as many different problems that they can think of that we're trying to solve with this change. And depending on what change you're going through, it could be vastly different, right? But the idea is that people get out as much information as they can in a certain set of time. Like sometimes I give them like 10 minutes to do this. Sometimes it's a little bit shorter. Sometimes it's a little bit longer depending on the agenda. But you get the point. Like, you individually brainstorm and you try to write down as many problems as you can. Then what we do is we'll go up to, if we're doing this in person, which isn't a luxury that we have all the time anymore, but you either go up to a whiteboard in person, or you start putting these notes into some sort of platform online, and people just will post what they wrote down. And what's remarkable about this, it becomes thematic. So you'll get themes of different problems that happen. Once you get your themes put together, Then the next round is really a discussion and understanding of what, out of all of those themes, what's truly the priority. And not necessarily like it's the quickest to implement or fix or anything like that, but ultimately what is the priority, and you rank them. So when we did this in person, highest priority was a green sticker, lowest priority was a red sticker, let's just say, and we had a couple of colors in between. So you would have, let's say 5 different stickers, and you would put your votes on each of the themes that were ranking the highest in your mind. And you can do that virtually too, and just force ranking, voting across the different themes. But what happens is when you do that voting, each person, A, has a voice, and B, you'll understand really quickly who thought that the certain theme was a priority by the amount of green stickers that it might have. So it happens every time. Some people are like, well, what if there's a tie across the board? Doesn't really happen very often. If you've had a really robust conversation to begin with, there's usually like 1 or 2 key themes that come to the top. Okay, I'm going to take a drink here. Once you get to your key theme, the next thing is to craft a problem statement. And you guys, this is like practice for the vision statement. So not easy to do, because I don't know what it is about people in corporate, and maybe it's just people in general. We love to like incorporate every little thing in a big old long sentence full of jargon or whatever. And that's one of my key shout outs, or watch outs later on. But you want to make sure that your problem statement is like easily relatable, easy to remember. So your gut check is, when I walk out of the room, I'm going to remember what the problem statement was. And if it's a long run-on sentence, you're not going to, right? People just don't think that way, especially when you have 10 million other things going on in your life, at work, and beyond. So you want to make it very short and sweet. Okay, so that's setting up the problem statement. The cool thing is that's really a lot of the heavy lifting. It drives a lot of the alignment, and it sets you up for success for the vision statement. The vision statement then says, okay, we have a problem statement. What are we going to do to fix it? Okay, so that's then what you're shifting your focus to, is what are we going to do to fix this problem? How do we correct the problem? And sometimes, we get involved in projects that are technology related. So that vision could be very technology enabled. It could be a merger and acquisition. I don't know. Depends on your change. But everything, you're trying to solve a problem, and how are you going to fix it? So then, guess what? I know this is shocking. You're going to go back to individual brainstorming. So now you have the problem statement. You put the problem statement right in front of people, either in the room or virtually, and you say, this is our problem statement. How are we going to fix it? And then they start writing on their Post-it notes again. How am I going to fix this problem? And write down as many ideas as you can. Usually we also go through our kind of 8 different areas of change. So it could be a data solution. It could be a people solution. It could be an organizational solution. It could be a cultural solution. Could be a tech solution, who knows? So we go through, and there's more, but those are good examples. So we go through those 8 areas. So we encourage people to write down, how are you going to solve for this problem in each of those 8 areas? We give them a little bit more time usually for this one. It's a little bit more thoughtful. And then we just repeat the process that we used for the problem statement. So once we get all these Post-it notes together, we put them all into themes, and there are usually some pretty clear themes that pop out from the exercise. Then what we'll do is go through the prioritization again and get down to the priority around the solve. And then going back to the hardest part again is getting it into a concise sentence. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of different visions that we've used in the past with different companies. And again, these are procurement focused, but hopefully they are good for examples for you. So one that we've actually used a couple of times was make purchasing easy. Okay. you can remember that. Anyone can remember that. You could put that on every single presentation. You can put that in every single communication. You can say it as talking points, make purchasing easy. People are going to resonate with that. Okay. So that is one that kind of comes up often, actually. We have another, actually a partner that we work with that talks about making procurement delightful. Like, you can replace the word easy with other things, but that is you want it to be like a very short, almost like a tagline type of a phrase, so that people truly can remember. We have another client right now that was, I think their tagline or their phrase is building a new house for procurement. Building a new house for procurement. Okay, that's what we're doing here. So how are we going to go ahead that? And then you have all your problem statements and, the detail behind it. But that is something that's easy to remember. Like, hey, we're building a new house for procurement. We had another client that was, we're going to have 100% touchless invoicing. Cool. And we're going to get into the success metrics here in a second, but that is something that's easy to remember for everyone. So anyway, those are a couple of really good examples, hopefully, for you that can refine that vision statement. If you have semicolons, commas, more than, let's just say, 6 words, it's too long. It needs to be refined. Okay. So 6 words maybe is a little bit extreme. You can go a little bit longer than that, but still, you got my point. Like, it needs to be something that resonates. And if you recognize all of those examples, they're not talking about like, hey, my vision statement is to implement Coupa. Well, no, that's not really your, like, yeah, but that's not really going to set the vision of the future, like answer the question around why you are doing that. Okay, so problem statement process, then you go through your vision statement process. Now we're at the point where we actually can talk about success metrics. Okay, some people, and I see this sometimes from some of our partners and other tech providers, they like to jump right into success metrics, which is super hard because you haven't set your vision yet necessarily, and you need to go through the problem that you're trying to solve and the vision work before you can really start talking about what are we going to measure and what our goals are going to be. So we actually use the exact same process. We have the problem statement and we now have the vision statement. Okay, so how are we going to measure success once we are live? Like, if we have that future vision, how are we going to measure that we've actually hit that future vision? And there are starting points. Like, we offer starting points for almost every project that we're on. But what we do is we follow that same process. We go through and do that individual brainstorming. People start writing down, okay, we want to be on 100% purchase order, or we want to have 80% first time match. We want to be an A customer for our suppliers. Like, that one seems to be coming up quite often. On the ease of use, cycle times come up. So again, we look at all 8 different parameters of change, and we start writing down success metrics. Now, of course, you don't need 100 different success metrics. That is never going to go the way that you want it to go. We recommend that you have 1 to 3. Okay. And these are like the top of the top of the top metrics that you are going to measure to say that you have been successful in this implementation. The more clear you can get on that and what that measure is, the better your change communications are, the better your stakeholder alignment is going to be, the more clear on your design choices. So I'll give you a recent example. Unfortunately, we went through this with a client and they had a success metric, and then they really struggled in design to make something happen that had a direct impact on the success metric. And so because there was that tension there, they're like, we're trying to go after this from a success standpoint, but the design is taking us away from that. How are we going to solve for that situation? But it elevated it as a risk almost right away because they were super clear on what they were trying to achieve. Okay, so you go through the individual brainstorming, you get all kinds of different metrics, you go through the prioritization and alignment on what those metrics should be. And the hardest part, I think, y'all, is not coming up with a metric. Like, a lot of people are like, hey, we want more on purchase order. I'll just use that as an example, or more electronic invoicing. You can talk about benchmarks all day long, but at the end of the day, you need to align in the room what your metric is going to be. Do you want to be world class? Do you want to be, a leader in the space? Do you just know that it's going to be good enough to make a 20-point difference in how you're operating today? That's really dependent on your culture and where you want to go, but you do need to have a target. And the way that this kind of comes out is, like when I worked in corporate still, we had one of our success metrics was 100% purchase order, and another one was 100% electronic invoicing. It was really clear. We had our vision statement, and then we had our metrics, and everything that we did was around those things. Communications, design choices, scope, whatever, that was clearly defined. And set the direction of the organization. So process, cross-functional team, do it early, do the brainstorming around problem, get your problem statement, talk about how you're going to solve that problem through your brainstorming around vision. So go through your vision brainstorming, go through the prioritization, get to a vision statement that's short and concise and easily remembered. And then the last step is looking at your problem statement and your vision statements and the work that you did associated to those, and come up with 1 to 3. You might be able to do like 2 to 4 success metrics, okay? But you don't want to do more than that. Then you put a bow around it and you use it in everything that you do moving forward. Communications, influencer engagement, stakeholder engagement, design choices, scope creep, governance. That is going to be so foundational to your success. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about, and I know this is a super long video, but it's really, really important to get done, is watch outs. Okay, I already mentioned this, run-on sentences. Do not do that. It is going to be a complete waste of time. You just wasted these 10 to 15 people's time, a good day and a half of time getting this nailed down. Do not walk out of the room with a run-on sentence. Short, concise. I know you guys can get there. Sometimes it takes someone in the room, like we do this for our clients, where they put together something that is what they think is good enough in the room for a vision statement, and then we'll go back and refine it to make it memorable. You can lean on someone like that in the room, on your team, or a consultant like us, but you do need to get to that short, concise sentence, okay? The other thing to keep in mind is sometimes when we get in a room like this, you start thinking about yourself and not the people that are truly being impacted by the change. So the vision statements that work the best aren't necessarily, let's just say, about procurement. They're about your stakeholders and your suppliers. So I would caution you to kind of do a gut check along the way to make sure that whatever you're creating is going to resonate with your stakeholders and suppliers, etc. And then the last watch out that happens almost every single time is that they're like, and we just had a client do this, they're like, we have 12 success metrics for this project. And I was like, well, you might have that many things that you want to measure, which is fine, but those aren't success metrics. Pick out the top, again, max 4 that are important to the overall success of the project, and the rest of them become operational metrics that you can measure as a team, project team, as you're going live, to make sure that those metrics are happening in support of your success metrics. But your success metrics are what you communicate out of the project, what you show on a scorecard to your steerco or your stakeholders. So though it's not that you can't use those metrics, but they're just put in a different bucket to measure operationally versus as a success metric. All right, So I hope that helps. It is a undertaking, to say the least, to get to your vision and your success metrics. But please, I beg you, please do it on every single project that you have. You might not think it's worth it, but man, it is. It is a total game changer in the success of your project, the success of your change management activities, and really the success of your stakeholder alignment, which is so important long term. I'm going to share a brief story with you. I had a project that I was leading, this was years ago, but we had a very strong vision and we had a very strong success metrics. And there was this one stakeholder who, let's just say, didn't like the direction we were going. Just say it like that. They resisted the change and started going out to other stakeholders complaining about the project. Okay, there was other motivational factors there that I won't get into here. But what I will get into is that because we had very clear success metrics that we were measuring post go live, I was able to go back to those other stakeholders and say, this is what we all agreed to. This is what success looks like. And guess what? We're hitting, I think at the time we were hitting, well exceeding 3 of the 4, and the 4th one was almost there, right? Like, so we all aligned to that success, and it kind of calmed the waters because we were able to refer back to those success metrics. So that's how important this work is. And I know a little bit of a longer video for us, but hopefully worth it.